was a dark night. The ground was wet from the storm that had come through earlier. The moon was full, but was hidden behind the clouds, and only a little of the eerie light escaped from behind those clouds into the backyard, filling it with this haze and glow. We were staying in the backyard at one of my friend's houses because it was a birthday party, and I was trying to make it scary, but it's not that scary at all. It was actually awesome. We had Doritos, we had the trampoline, and we were having a ball. You know how it is. You're like stuffing your face, jumping up and down on the trampoline until you throw up. That's the kind of party we were having. We were all junior hires, and we were probably being obnoxious to the neighbors around us. The night kept getting later and later and later, and we were having a ball. And like usually happens at parties like this, one guy comes up with the idea to play a game that never in history has ended well. And that game is Truth or Dare. If you're not familiar with the game, don't worry about it. You're not missing anything. You basically have to answer a question and tell the truth about something that could be potentially embarrassing, or take a really difficult dare. And this game literally never ends well. Well, my turn rolled around and my friends forced me to take a dare. Now here's the deal. They knew me pretty well. They knew that I followed Jesus, and so some things they would dare me to do, it'd probably be pretty unlikely that I would do them. But they dared me. I didn't know this, but one of my friends had brought a whole backpack full of porn magazines. Now, this was back when I was in junior high. We really didn't have instant access to the internet and all that, so porn was basically available in like magazines, and so this kid had like stolen a bunch from his dad or something and brought them to this party. Well, my friends dared me to look at a picture from one of these of a totally naked woman. This was the first time in my whole life that I'd ever been around pornography that I knew of, and I had no idea what to do. I was face to face with this decision. I didn't know what I would choose. What would I choose? I don't know. What would you do? I mean, the punishment for not doing the dare was that all the rest of the guys there would get to punch me. But to be honest, I was way less concerned about that than I was about what they would think of me. Like, they would think I was a goody-goody or a nerd or something. And beyond that, if I didn't do what they were doing, would they even want to be my friend anymore? All these things are swirling around in my mind, making it a really complicated decision. But add on top of that what I wanted. How to put this delicately to you. I was a junior high boy. The mere thought of seeing a naked woman was like this far off idea, world of mystical wonder and amazement. Of course, I wanted to look at the picture. My little hormones were just racing. My heart is beating out of my chest. Between the fear that my friends would reject me, the pressure they were putting on me, my totally natural instinct to be intrigued by a naked woman, and my desire to do what God wanted me to do, I was just all kinds of messed up. And yet, I still had to choose. And so will you. Some of you already have. And like Eric mentioned earlier, navigating these decisions and these difficult situations, it can be pretty scary. And the one thing that we all need to learn is how to choose to be brave. Because see, bravery isn't something that we just live without fear, so we're brave. No. Bravery is seeing all the risks around you, knowing exactly what those are, and doing what needs to be done anyway. That's what bravery is. Think of it like a running back on a football team. He sees across the line of scrimmage, there's this line of linebackers, and he knows they're bigger than him. They're stronger than him. They're waiting to pummel him. But he chooses to run his hardest every single time he gets the ball, because that's what he's got to do to help his team win. Or think of a firefighter who sees the risk in a burning building but still chooses to run inside after the people who are trapped. Or even a soldier who knows every single time he goes out on a mission, he may not come back. He chooses to put his life on the line every time because he's defending other people. Now, all these examples, these are times when it would be totally natural and reasonable to have fear. But bravery isn't usually natural in most cases. Bravery is something that we choose. So when it comes to trusting God's design for our sexual purity, why do we have to choose to be brave? Well, because all of us are either facing or about to face some kind of pressure, whether it's external pressure or internal pressure. For me, the external pressure was coming from my friends. They were wanting me to look at porn, and I was so worried about what they would think if I didn't. But it didn't stop there. There was this internal pressure too, what I wanted. I was a junior high boy. I was very interested in the female physique, but I also wanted to do what God wanted me to do. I had to make the choice between this external pressure and this internal pressure and what I really knew to be the right thing to do. Let me ask you, what do you think was more difficult, the external pressure from my friends or the internal pressure that I was putting on myself? Well, for me, it wasn't even close. The internal pressure was so much more difficult to handle than the external pressure. And I bet it's that way for a lot of you as well. You see, what I was experiencing in those moments is this thing we call lust. Lust is a normal physical attraction that we allow to become a sinful sexual desire. Make sense? And to be totally transparent with you, it's something that is really, really difficult for basically every single guy who faces it. If you don't believe me, just ask your coach, your pastor, your dad, an older brother, an uncle, or really any dude in your life who will be honest with you. They'll say, yeah, it's really, really difficult. But if you only hear one thing that I say tonight, I want you to hear this. Lust will wreck your life if you let it. Lust will wreck your life if you let it. Every day, science is showing us new ways that lust totally destroys us. For example, lust shrinks down our attention span and it makes us more easily bored and more distractible. That means we could suffer consequences in the classroom, on the field, even in relationships. Lust diminishes our sex drive as we age. That's why the people who are popping those pills like Viagra and Cialis, a lot of them are in their 20s. Yeah, it diminishes your sex drive. Not only that, but psychologically speaking, it also makes it really difficult to have deep and meaningful relationships with people. You pay for that when it comes to your friends, your dating relationships, and someday your wife. Oh yeah, and don't forget, the chances of you cheating on your wife someday and getting a divorce skyrocket when you give in to lust. So yeah, it's a really, really big deal that we take really, really seriously. And our only defense against this thing called lust is choosing to be brave. And I'll be totally honest, it's probably gonna be a daily choice for you, a daily battle that you have to fight, especially when you consider how accessible things like pornography and other inappropriate content have become. We are connected all the time by our phones, our iPods, tablets, computers, game consoles, televisions, to basically anything that we want to see right now, right? Pictures, videos, drawings, naked women, girls wearing revealing clothing, people doing sexual things, you name it, you can see it in seconds. And that's why the only thing we can do in order to battle this is choose every day to live brave. But what does that really look like? I want to share just one verse from the Bible with you tonight. It's a verse from Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23, and it kind of speaks to this and gives us a little bit of direction. It says this: above everything else, guard your heart. Everything you do comes from it. I want to read that one more time, just the first part. And on every single campus, I want all of you to join me. Can you do it? Above everything else, guard your heart. Guys, choosing to be brave starts with guarding our hearts. And if you are a basketball player or you just like it, you know when you hear the word guard, we're talking about playing defense. What the Bible is literally saying is defend your heart like a bodyguard defends Taylor Swift. Don't let anything bad happen to it. Defend it against everything. Choosing to be brave starts with guarding our hearts. So what exactly can we do to keep this lust from getting into our heart and dominating our life or destroying it? Well, I want to make it as simple as I possibly can for you. I'm going to give you just a few characteristics of a life that is brave. And it's going to be pretty easy to follow along with because I want you to be able to leave here and know exactly how to begin this journey. So here they are, 3 things. You ready? Number 1, limit your access to things that cause you to lust. What I mean is we have to put in personal boundaries to anything that connects us to pornography or that feeds our sexual desire. A few practical examples of this. So when you go to bed for the night, you're going to your room, whatever you do not take your phone in with you. Don't take it. The same can be true of your tablet, your computer, an iPod, anything that connects you to porn. Don't take it. You do not need to walk temptation into your room with you to sit there for hours every single night. It can charge some other place, right? For any of you who are on social media, you might need to unfriend or unfollow any account that demeans women by showing them naked or showing girls wearing revealing clothing or people posing sexually or anything else that might make you lust. Just unfollow them. And for those of you who are really struggling with this particular thing on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, whatever it is, delete the app. You can live without it for a few months until you can kind of come back to a place where you're ready to re-engage with it. These are just a couple of examples of ways that you can begin to put these kind of boundaries into place in your own life. Our technology connects us instantly to all kinds of things that feed our sexual desire, and we all have to learn how to deal with that. But at some point, we're also gonna have to face lust with actual girls, not just digital ones. And I just want to give you a few tips on how to kind of put those boundaries in place there as well. These are things that have worked for me and a lot of people that I know. Here you go. First up, don't ever go into a girl's bedroom. Just don't do it. You do not need to see her picture of Shawn Mendes or check out her awesome My Little Pony collection. Chill out. Don't do it. Just don't go in a bedroom. Also, another tip, don't hang out alone very often at all. Hang out with other people, have friends. It's cool to date, but make other people a part of your group so that you're not putting yourself constantly in temptation's way. Last, anytime you are hanging out together, be sure to leave the doors open and the lights on so that everybody can see you have nothing to hide. Guys, choosing to be brave starts with guarding our hearts. And the first line of defense is limiting our access to anything that might cause us to lust or those things that feed our sexual desire. The choice is yours, how to limit that access. Characteristic number 2, invite other people to help you. Find somebody that you trust, like you really trust, a parent, a coach, maybe a pastor, someone that you will let ask you really difficult questions at how you're doing it, guarding your heart from lust. And I mean anything. They can ask anything. And then be really totally brutally honest with them about it too. And that might be the tough part. Share with them how you're struggling, how you failed. Maybe you looked at a girl and had some sexual thoughts. Maybe you saw something online that you know you probably shouldn't have. Be honest with them. But don't just stop with the struggle and the bad stuff. No. Celebrate the wins too. Ways that you're succeeding. Every time you have lust and you kick it in the face, be sure to celebrate that. It's awesome to do that together. We call that accountability around here. And simply put, it works, man. Accountability works. This is your journey, and you need somebody to come along with you on it. Characteristic number 3, relentlessly focus on God. Relentlessly focus on God. Look, when we keep our eyes fixed on God, He begins to change our heart. He does. And not only that, He puts in us this desire to do what is good and right, and not the things that will be destructive or damaging to us. For each of us, that means spending time every day reading God's word and connecting with Him in prayer. In fact, in just a little while, we're gonna give you all a gift that's gonna make it way easier for you to do this. Guys, when we spend time with God every single day, stay consistent, you will be shocked at how much this brave lifestyle just becomes second nature to you. There they are. Those 3 characteristics will mark every brave guy's life. Limit your access to things that make you lust. Invite others to help you, and relentlessly focus on God. But this isn't just like a one-time thing. No. This is a daily choice to be brave. A choice. And that's where I was. Face to face with a choice. Was I going to cave to this external pressure from my friends to look at porn? Or that internal pressure from the lust I was feeling? Or was I going to choose to be brave? In that moment, I knew what I had to do. I closed my eyes, I shut them tight, and I looked away. And for some of you, you might think that is juvenile or immature. You might even laugh about it. But that's okay, because I chose to be brave, and I would choose it 100 more times because of what it meant in my life. I just simply could not look at the thing that could destroy me. So, yeah, all the guys there got to punch me, and they made fun of me a little bit. But did I lose any of my friends because I chose not to look at porn? No, I didn't lose one friend over it. Did they make fun of me? Yeah, a little bit, but come on, we're guys. It's kind of what we do. And it died down, and it wasn't that big of a deal anymore. But interestingly enough, something happened just a couple years later that was pretty amazing to me. This same group of guys had gotten together 2 years later. We're now in high school, and we were having a birthday party at a buddy's house. We were gonna have the whole place to ourselves. We had it all planned out. We had video games all night, awesome pizza. We're gonna be chugging Mountain Dew, staying up all night, probably doing stupid stuff, but having a ball. My buddy's parents left. They left us with pizza, and we're sitting around eating. My buddy grabs a backpack, and he pulls it, he unzips it, and he starts throwing magazines to the whole group of us who were sitting around. Every one of them was a porn magazine. He skipped me. He didn't throw me anything. All right, I just figured that was the way it was gonna be. That was fine, whatever, I'm cool with that. It got all the way around the circle. And then he reached into his backpack and he threw one to me, and he said, "Don't worry, Adam, I got one for you too." And I was like, oh my goodness, what is this? And I reached down and picked it up, and I realized that he had thrown me a sports magazine. These guys that I was so terrified would make fun of me or reject me, not want to be my friend anymore, They ended up respecting me. They respected me for taking a stand for something that I believed in. They saw that I lived differently, and it actually impacted them to the point where he thought of me when he was stocking his porn bag. Are you kidding me? I was blown away. Guys, that was the result of me choosing to be brave before and living that way up until then. And you have a chance to do the same thing. You have a chance to live brave. When you do, you will get noticed. No question about it. Because this world is full of guys who are all but too willing to just give in to all the pressure, external and internal, but not you. You can be the exception. You can be the brave ones. But remember this, choosing to be brave starts with guarding our hearts.